Hello again. My name is Dennis Karstens. I'm a retired lawyer, novelist. I've been doing these videos as kind of my unsolicited opinion and advice. Today, I come to you with really a heavy heart. I can't help it. I'm really down because I have come to the conclusion that even though this is only September, the election coming up in November between Kamala Harris and Donald Trump is over. It's been decided. Kamala's going to win. Trump has virtually no choice, no chance rather, and there's not a hell of a lot we can do about it because the government of America, the one that does not work on behalf of the American people, are simply not going to allow Donald Trump to become president again. Kamala was selected by not by votes. They had their primary system, and she was not even in it. She didn't receive a single vote. But the people who tell you that Donald Trump is out to destroy democracy took that democratically elected candidate, Joe Biden, and tossed him aside because they didn't want him. They wanted Kamala. And they want Kamala because even though Joe Biden has not been in charge of our government, a ruling clique of very far left radicals have been controlling our government. They decided they wanted Kamala in there, and she won't even be a puppet. She'll be someone sitting at the desk and just doing what she's told. Okay? Democracy is coming to an end in this country. It's not going to end over the next 4 years, but because of the next election, it's not going to, we can't stop it. We won't be able to stop the end of democracy in America. And it saddens me greatly because so far we've made it work. But they're the elected officials in Washington, and I include many Republicans on this, and the Democrat Party, which controls the bureaucracy, don't work on behalf of the American people, aren't interested in the American people. Kamala Harris is not a candidate for the American people. She is the candidate of the ruling parties, the ruling people in Washington, D.C. When this election is over and Kamala is put in place, Donald Trump is headed for prison. They're going to throw him in jail as a warning to all of us. And they're probably going to go after his family too. And I believe next on the list will be Elon Musk. Because the one thing that Democrats hate more than anything else is free speech. And Elon Musk is a champion of free speech. That's why they've come to hate him. He allows people to voice their opinions on what used to be Twitter and now is called X. And they hate that. When the Democrats controlled Twitter through the idiots that ran it before, everything was fine. But now that Elon Musk is allowing other people to say things there, that's got to end. And this idea about, well, you've heard this. They talk about disinformation, misinformation, and hate speech, and that's got to be curbed, and we've got to do something to put a stop to it. Well, disinformation and misinformation is nothing more than opinions, information that the ruling government does not want you to hear. And they want to kill it. Censorship, the First Amendment, freedom of speech, is first on the list, and they're going to do away with it. Again, this isn't going to happen in a few months or even a few years, but give them 10, 15 years, and they're going to take it. Real elections are just about done in this country. They're going to take over, and they're going to kill that. And they're going to do everything they can to kill the Second Amendment, too. They don't give a damn about school shootings. In fact, They probably have an orgasm every time there's a bunch of kids killed because now they can jump around and scream about gun control. The whole idea of gun control is that word control. They want to disarm the American people because there's no more sure way of controlling us than free speech and gun control. Once those are gone, it's over. We will be nothing more than sheep. And when they put Donald Trump in office, I'm sorry, not in office, in prison, that's going to be the time when you may start to realize they're doing that as a message to you. Dissent in this country is over. And you will do as you're told. And if you get out of line and say things that they don't want you to say, and the they are very real. A lot of times when people say, well, they are after this or that, it's a nebulous kind of thing that no one knows who they are. Well, we all know who they are. They are the Washington, D.C. government establishment. They have carved themselves power, and they're not going to give it up. And they're going to rule over us and put an end to freedom, democracy in America. And people don't believe that this can happen. Folks, it's happening now. It's being done very gradually. They're chipping away at the First Amendment, the Second Amendment. There are thousands of gun control laws in this country. None of them are good enough for them. They want to disarm you. Well, eventually they will. Because, like I said, elections are done, okay? Over the last 200 years, with the beginning of the Constitution, we have had three what are supposed to be co-equal branches of government: the legislative, the judicial, and the executive. Well, over the last, I suppose, since the advent of Franklin Roosevelt, power to the executive has gone more and more and more. But even then, up until just recently, when the Supreme Court would order that a certain law or a certain act by the executive was illegal and unconstitutional, our presidents would abide by that. Donald Trump did. When the Supreme Court said no, you can't do something, they would abide by it and not do it. Well, Joe Biden and the Democrats have said, no, we're not going to go along with that anymore. We're going to do what we want. That's what this whole student loan thing is about. The Supreme Court told him twice he can't do that. He can't forgive student loans and pass it on to the taxpayers. He has to go to Congress and have Congress do it because Congress has the control of the money. Joe Biden said, yeah, screw you. I'm going to do it anyway because I'm king. That's what they're doing, folks. And this is coming to an end. The checks and balances set out in the Constitution are pretty much over. And it's just going to get worse. And it won't even be all that noticeable. People are letting it happen. The number one reason that this is going to happen is because of the apathy of the American people. Far too many people in this country say they don't pay attention to politics, they don't care what they're doing, or they just aren't interested in watching it. And these people vote. What we call low information voters decide our elections. And they're going to decide this one. And they're going to elect Kamala Harris. Because I just don't like Donald Trump. He's mean. Which is the dumbest thing you can possibly think of. Because Trump's policies are far better than Kamala's. Because no one knows what Kamala's policies are. Including Kamala. Because she hasn't been told what her policies are. Again, I guess that's enough. I can't really, take it much more. It's really sad to me. This probably isn't going to happen in my lifetime, but it will happen in my kids' lifetime, my grandkids. America is dying. American democracy, freedom, liberty are dying. We are headed toward a one party, authoritarian, Chinese communist style government. And there's nothing we can do about it. And just so you understand, I really mean this. You know, Tim Walz, I live in Minnesota. That idiot's our governor. He was living in China during the late 1980s. For those of you who remember, there was a big uprising, really, in China in 1989. People protesting for more freedom, more democracy in China. There was a massacre in Beijing in Tiananmen Square. Tiny Timmy was there when this happened, and he thought it was the greatest thing he'd ever seen. The Chinese government has admitted they killed 500 people, which is way too low. There's a minimum of 1,000, and there were observers in China who say the actual death toll, the people who were murdered by the Chinese government, could go as high as 10,000 people killed. And Walz is ecstatic about it. He got married, he planned his marriage on the anniversary of that day to celebrate it. That's the kind of person he is. He admires the Chinese Communist government. Hell, I wouldn't be the least bit surprised if Kamala Harris is assassinated so that China can move their Manchurian candidate into the White House. This is how bad things are becoming. We're about to elect a communist as vice president of the United States. And Kamala grew up in a household that was run by her Marxist father, who was proud to be a Marxist communist professor at Stanford. For her to sit there and say she was in the middle class is nonsense. It's a lie. But then everything coming out of her mouth is a lie. These two are about as close to dictatorship, tyrannical communists as this country has ever had. And they're about to get elected into the White House. Well, good luck to us, okay? That's enough. I can't do much more. I'm just sick here today about this whole thing because I really believe it's going to happen. I just don't see how they'll ever allow Trump to become president. I just don't see it. Thank you. Have a great day. Please remember to vote. Vote with your head, not your feelings. This may very well be the last time I vote. I mean, if this happens, I'll probably never bother to vote again because elections in this country are coming to an end. I can see this already. Sorry, I don't mean to be so, full of doom and gloom, but, look what's going on. Thanks again. Goodbye, and I'll be back with more stuff.